Good morning, PCMS. This is your 8th grade science team with another informative and entertaining video. This video is in regards to activity 3C, the virtual lab fossil data. And so what you need to do is here, you open up the paper, and this beginning section is some background on the law of superposition, relative dating, absolute dating, and so you might need some of that. And then we're ready for the procedure section. It says procedure number 1, begin at one of the 3 dig sites. So on the website, which you will find the linked website here, if you just copy that, paste it in, you'll come here. All right, so it says begin at one of the 3 dig sites. You can see here it says dig site 1. So we are all ready to go at dig site 1. Then the procedure says to click and drag a nail into each of the 4 layers. You can see I've done that over here simply by grabbing the nail from the table and placing it in the layers. Number 2 says grab the magnifying glass and look for fossils in the layers. So I pick up the magnifying glass and I move it around through the layers. Now in the procedure it said that your hand, wherever the hand is on the handle, is the layer you're in. So be sure you're moving that hand back and forth slowly over the different layers. See, oh, and there I found a fossil. Now, so I'm looking carefully at what that fossil is in the screen there. All right. And now that I've got that committed to my memory, I go back to the procedure and what do I do when I find a fossil? It says when you find fossils, compare them with those shown in the field guide. To access the field guide, click on the computer and then click on field guide. So click on the computer, click on field guide, and then I use the next button till I get to the fossil that I saw, and there it is. It says this is fossil W, and it lived during the Permian period. So I go back to my sheet and I go to the second page, and in my table for dig site 1 in layer 1 in this box, I'm going to write a W, and then in the time period I'm going to write Permian. So W and Permian. Now I go back to my dig site, I close my field guide, pick up my magnifying glass again, and I'm going to continue looking for fossils in here. There's the same fossil I found, so I'm just going to move past it. Now there's another one. Now what you notice is that we found a second fossil that is the same kind. So we do not need to record anything new in our data table since it is the same fossil, and we're just going to continue looking for fossils to see what we find. Notice how I move down a little bit and I'm moving back over. And there's another one. Okay, so I'm continuing to move through layer 1 to see if I find any fossils. And that was all. I just found some fossils of just the same fossils. Now, here I'm in layer 3 and I found this fossil. Okay, so I'm looking at that, go back to my field guide, hit next until I come across that one. There it is. That is fossil T. And this says it lived from 150 to 50 million years ago. So I go back to my recording sheet. I am now in layer 3. Fossil T in here. And then the time period was 50 to 150 million years ago. So I would write that in my time period. Okay. Now notice here it says you should find at least 2 in layers 1 and 3. So we did find 2 in layer 1. They were just the same fossil twice. Okay, so we go back to here. Let's close this, pick up our magnifying glass again, and continue to look for fossils. So I'm looking. Nice and slow all throughout. There's the same one, so that doesn't count as the second one. I'm looking. And there's one. So let's look at that carefully. Make sure we commit that to our memory and what it looks like. Click on the computer, go to our field guide, hit next until we find the fossil. There it is. This is Z, and it lived from 150 to 66.4 million years ago. So it's in the same time period as the other fossils. So we're going to go back to our record sheet and just put fossil Z here next to our other fossil. Go back here, close this, continue looking for fossils. We were coming up this way. There's the one we found. So we're just going to make sure there are no other fossils. Oh, and there's another one there. So it's the same one. So you can write that we found 2 of those in your data table. And keep going on. All right, so that's all the fossils we're going to find. But we're not done at dig site 1. Because it says after we record the names of the fossils and the layers in which you found them in the table, return to the dig site, click and drag the hammer to the layers you want samples from. The samples will be placed in the tray according to layers they are taken from. So we come here, pick up the hammer. There's one from layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. And then it says, click and drag each of the samples to the utility truck's front driver's side window. So we come here, we pick up a rock, and we take it to the driver. And then the driver takes the rocks and you say, hello, thank you for taking my rocks. And then it says, the procedure says, click the truck window again to send the rock samples to the lab for absolute dating. So click on her, see how you get to the pointer, click on her, and she'll talk. Now, it really doesn't take 2 weeks. That's just part of the fun of the simulation. So you click on your computer and she said to check your email. So let's check her email. And it says radiometric dating was only done on the igneous rock sample. Of course it is. You can't do radiometric dating on sedimentary rocks. We know that. Absolute dating cannot be used to determine the age of sedimentary rocks because the age of sediment is determined, not the age of the rock itself. We know that because we've studied that in class. So email, next. Okay, so this says from rock sample layer 2, isotope B, it's got a half-life of 400 million years, and it's gone through 1 half-life because it says here that 50% of the parent isotope is remaining. Okay, and 50% of the daughter isotope is remaining, and we know that that is 1 half-life. So, in our data table, for dig site 1, radiometric dating, layer 2, we're going to write down 400 million years. So 400 million years goes right there. Okay, and we go back, hit next, rock layer 4, isotope A, a half-life of 550 million years, 1 half-life because this is blinking right at 50 and 50. If it were blinking down here, that would be 2 half-lives, 3 half-lives, so on. So we come here, I forget the number, 550 million. In this blank, we write 550 million years. Okay, now you repeat this procedure for dig site 2 and dig site 3, and then when you are done, you answer these conclusion questions. All right. Have a great day. I hope you enjoy this activity.